Republic Act 8435. So, what is Republic Act 8435 all about? So, Republic Act 8435, or the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act of 1997, simply known as AFMA, was enacted on December 22, 1997. It is a policy instrument defining measures to modernize Philippine agriculture for the country to compete in the global market. So, the stated objective of this act is to transform this sector from resource-based into technology-based industries and to enhance profits in these sectors, especially for small farmers and fishermen. So, the major concerns of AFMA plan, which is first is the food security, poverty alleviation, and social equity. Third is income enhancement and profitability, especially for farmers and fisher folks. Then 4 is global competitiveness. Then last is sustainability. In Section 2, Declaration of Policy, the state shall empower the agriculture and fishery sectors to develop and sustain themselves. Toward this end, the state shall ensure the development of agriculture and fisheries sectors in accordance with the following principles. So first is the poverty alleviation and social equity. So the state shall ensure that the power sectors of society have equitable access to resources, income opportunities, basic and support services, and infrastructure, especially in areas where productivity is low, as a means of improving their quality of compared other sectors of society. So B is secure food security. So the state shall assure the availability, adequacy, accessibility, and affordability of food supplies to all times. So C is the rational use of resources. So the state shall adopt a rational approach in the allocation of public investment in agriculture and optimal returns on its investment. In global competitiveness, the state shall enhance the competitiveness of the agriculture and fisheries sectors in both domestic and foreign market. So E is the sustainability development. So the state shall promote development that is compete with the preservation of the ecosystem in areas where agriculture and fisheries are carried. So the state should exert care and judicious use of the country's raw natural resources in order to attain long-term sustainability. Then F is the people empowerment. The state shall promote people empowerment by enabling all citizens through direct participation or through their duty elected, chosen, or design representatives the opportunity to participate in policy formulation and decision making by establishing the appropriate mechanism and by giving them access to information. And last is protection from unfair competition. So the state shall protect small farmers and fisheries folk from unfair competition such as monopolistic and oligopolistic practices by promoting a policy environment that provides them priority access to credit and strengthen cooperative-based marketing system. In Section 3, Statement of Objectives, first is to modernize the agriculture and fisheries sectors by transforming these sectors from resource-based to technology-based industry. Second is to enhance profits and income in the agriculture and fisheries sectors, particularly the small farmers and fisher folks, by ensuring equitable access to assets, resources and services, and promoting higher value crops, valued added processing, agribusiness activities, and agro-industrialization. C is to ensure the accessibility, availability, and stable supply of food to all at all times. D is to encourage horizontal and vertical integration, consolidation, and expansion of agriculture and fisheries activities groups, functions, and other services through the organization of cooperatives, farmers and fisherfolks associations, corporation, nucleus states, and consolidation firms, and to enable these entities to benefit from economies of scale, afford them a stronger negotiating position, efficient and appropriate research and development efforts, and enable them to hire professional managers. So E is to promote people empowerment by strengthening people's organization, cooperativeness, and NGOs, and by establishing and monitoring, improving mechanisms and process for their participation in government decision making and implementation. Letter G is to induce the agriculture and fisheries sectors to ascend continuously the value added ladder by subjecting their traditional or new products to further processing in order to minimize the marketing of raw, unfinished, or unprocessed products. So H is to adopt policies that will promote industry dispersal and rural industrialization by proving incentives to local and foreign investors to establish industries that have backward linkages to the country's agriculture and fisheries resources base. Then I is to promote or to provide social and economic adjustment measures that increase productivity and improve market efficiency while ensuring the protection and preservation of the environment and equity for small farmers and fisher folks. And last is to improve the quality of life of all sectors. The Republic Act number 8435 provides a 120 sections divided into 5 titles for measures to sustain the development in the agriculture sectors and fisheries sectors. So, Title 1 is the production and marketing support services. That is section 5 to 64. So, Title 2 is the human resource development. So, section 65 to 79. And Title 3, the research development and extension, which is in section 80 to 95. In Title 4, the rural non-farm development is on section 96 to 107. And last is the Title 5, trade and fiscal incentive, which is in section 108 to 120. Title 1, the production and marketing support services. So declaration of policy. It is the policy of the state to ensure that all sectors of the economy and all regions of the country shall be given optimum opportunity to develop through the rational and sustainable set of resources peculiar to each area in order to maximize agriculture productivity, promote efficiency and equity, and accelerate the modernization of the agriculture and fishery sectors of the country. 6. The network of areas for agriculture and agro-industrial development. So the department shall, within six months after the approval of this act and in consultation with the local government units, appropriate government agencies, concerned non-government organization or the NGO, and unorganized farmer and fisher folks group, identify the Strategic Agriculture and Fisheries Development Zone or the SAFDZ within the network of protected areas for agriculture and agro-industrial development to ensure that lands are effective and sustainability utilized for food and non-food production and agro-industrialization. So the SAFDZ, which shall serve as centers where development in the agriculture and fishery sectors are catalyzed in an environmentally and socio-culturally sound manner, shall be identified on the basis of the following criteria. So first is climatic and environmental condition, giving a competitive advantage in the cultivation, culture, production, and processing of particular crops, animals, and aquatic products. Then second is the strategic location of the area for the establishment of agriculture or fisheries infrastructure, industrial complexes, production and processing zones. Third is the strategic location of the area for market development and market networking both at local and international level. And last is dominant presence of agrarian farm communities or the ARC and or small owner cultivators, and among modernizing the owners, agrarian farm beneficiaries, and other small and fisher folk in the areas. So the components of SAFDZ Integrated Developmental Plan. First is the production, second is the processing, third is the investment, four is marketing, and five is the environmental protection. So identification by the DA on SAFDZ within the network of protected areas of agriculture and agro-industrial and development. So within 6 months after the approval of the act. So establishment and declination by the DA of the SAFDZ in consultation, DAR, DTI, DNR, DOST, the concerned LGUs, the organized farmers and fisher folk group, the private sector, communities based on Sound Resource Act counting within 1 year from the effective of this act. Preparation of land use and zoning ordinance. So first is all cities and municipalities shall be prepared their respective land use and zoning ordinance incorporating with SAFDZ were capable 1 year from the finalization of the SAFDZ. Second is thereafter, all land use plans and zoning ordinances shall be updated every 4 years or as often as may be deemed necessary upon the recommendation of the Housing Land Use Regulatory Board or the HLURB, and must be completed within the first term of office of the mayor. So, penalty for agricultural inactivity and conversion. So, any person or juridical entity who knowingly or deliberately cause an irrigated agricultural land, so 7 hectares or larger, whether contiguous or not, within the protected areas for agricultural development, to lie idle and unproductive for a period exceeding 1 year, unless due to force majeure, shall be penalized as follows. So, first is pay an idle land tax of 3,000 pesos per hectare per year. In addition, the violator shall be required to put back lands to productive agricultural land use. So, should the continued agricultural inactivity, unless due to force majeure, exceed a period of 2 years, and the land shall be subjected to escheat proceeding. So, penalty for agricultural inactivity and conversion. So, any person found guilty of premature or illegal conversion shall be penalized with imprisonment of 2 to 6 years, or fine of 100% of the government's investment cost, or both at the discretion of the court, and accessory penalty of forfeiture of the land and any improvement thereon. So, in addition, DER may impose the following penalties. So, first is cancellation or withdrawal of the authorization for land use conversion, and second is blacklisting or automatic disapproval of pending and subsequent conversion application that may file with the DER. So credit. So it is hereby declared the policy of the state to alleviate poverty and promote vigorous growth in the countryside through access to credit by small farmers, fisher folks, particularly the women involved in the production, processing, and trading of agriculture and fisheries products, and the small and medium-scale enterprises and the industries engaged in agriculture and fisheries. Interest rates shall be determined by market forces, so provide that existing credit arrangement with agrarian reform beneficiaries are not affected. Emphasis of the credit program shall be on proper management and utilization. So the department shall implement existing DCPs, but it shall be phased out within a period of 4 years from the effective of this act. So all its loan-able funds, including those under the Comprehensive Agricultural Loan Fund, or the CALF, including new funds provided by this act. So agro-industry modernization credit financing program shall be deposited and transferred the management thereof to corporate banks, rural banks, government financial institutions, and viable NGOs for the AMCFP. So the interest earnings of the said deposit land funds shall be reverted to the AMCFP. So the coverage in agriculture, fisheries, and agrarian reform credit and financing system shall be designed for the use and benefit of farmers Fisher folks, those engaged in food and non-food production, processing and trading, cooperatives, farmers and fisher folks organization, and SME engaged in agriculture and fisheries, then hereinafter referred to in this chapter as the beneficiaries. So, scope of the agro industry modernization credit and financing program, or AMCFP. So the AMs shall include the packaging and delivery of various credit assistance programs of the following. So first is agriculture and fisheries production, including processing of fisheries and agri-based products and farm inputs. So acquisition of work animals, farm and fishery equipment and machinery. So acquisition of seeds, fertilizer, poultry, livestock feeds, and other similar terms. D is the procurement of agriculture and fisheries products for storage, trading, processing, and distribution. Then last is the letter E is the acquisition of water pumps and installation of tube wells for irrigation. Then F is the construction, acquisition and repair of facilities for production, processing, storage, transportation, communication, marketing, and such as other facilities in support of agriculture and fisheries. Then letter G is the working capital for agriculture and fisheries graduates to enable them to engage in agriculture and fisheries related economic activities. Then H is the agribusiness activities which support soil and water conservation and ecology enhancing activities. So I is privately funded and LGU funded irrigation systems that are designed to protect the watershed. J is working capital for long legislating projects, and last is the credit guarantees on uncollateralized loans to farmers and fisher folks. So the Department of Financial Commission an independent review of the farmers and their respective programs of the following. So Bank of the Philippines, LBP. The second is the Philippine Crop Assurance Corporation, this PCIC. Guarantee Fund for Small and Medium Enterprises, or the GSFME. Quidan and Rural Credit Guarantee Corporation, or the Quadancor. And Agricultural Credit Policy Council, or the ACPC. So irrigation. So Section 26 Declaration of Policy. It is a policy of the state to use its natural resources rationally and equitably. The state shall prevent the further destruction of watershed, rehabilitate existing irrigation systems, and promote the development of irrigation systems that are effective, affordable, appropriate, and efficient. So irrigation research and development shall be pursued, and priority shall be given to the development of effective, appropriate, and efficient irrigation and water management technologies. The development shall coordinate with the Department of Environment and Natural Resources concerning the preservation and rehabilitation of watersheds to support the irrigation systems. That's all. Thank you.